You're addicted to pornography and you keep using that as a cop-out, as an excuse to go and waste your energy on that, on some digital cheeks, on some pixels on a screen. You'd rather waste your energy on that. It's time to go. It's time to live your life.
Give it up. It's time to stop running.
I think quitting porn takes a lot of time. And I know you know that, but it really takes a lot of time. Like, it can take years and years to really peel back all the layers of why you keep running back to this habit. I started this journey to quit all the way back in 2016. It was my freshman year of college. I was sitting in my dorm room and I had just gotten done, doing the deed, right? And I remember sitting there at my desk alone in my dorm, and I just had this thought come over me. Maybe it was God, maybe it was the universe. It popped into my head. Maybe you shouldn't do this anymore. Maybe I shouldn't watch this anymore. That was the first time I had ever thought that. Keep in mind, prior to me having this thought that maybe I should quit, I had been doing this basically on a daily basis, multiple times a day, watching porn, all this kind of gross shit for probably the past 5 years previous to this, maybe even longer. And when you've been doing it for that long, it develops this hold over you. Your brain literally rewires and reshapes itself to become dependent on this substance or on this content or on this behavior or act that you keep doing. It becomes dependent on the dopamine and all the chemistry, all the brain chemicals that you keep flooding it with every time you look at the corn. But you can't fix this problem if you don't know why you keep doing it. Yeah, I want you to make that commitment to me right now that from this day forward, you are going to keep working to cut corn, PMO, porn, masturbation, whatever, out of your life completely. This habit is done. We're not doing it anymore.
Promise me you'll be better than me.
So the first step for you to quitting corn forever, and I mean forever, it's no longer going to be a part of your life. The first step is to be aware of your problem. I know it sounds simple, it sounds basic, but it's true. Think about how many people go through life and they just do things on autopilot. Think about all the times you just eat junk food, or you just mindlessly watch TV after work or after school, or you just scroll through Instagram or TikTok and look at all these scantily clad women, or you just go to the orange and black website or videos by X without even thinking about it, without even giving it a second thought. You just show up there every single night without failure. It's because you're not aware of what you're doing. It's because you're not thinking about what you're doing. You're just mindlessly going through life on autopilot. I call it mindless zombie mode. You're in zombie mode. But when you start to become aware of your issues, aware of your habits, you start to become aware of, why am I doing this? What's causing me to want to do this? What emotions or thoughts am I having right now that are causing me to want to go splurge? What's giving me these urges, the urge to splurge? What triggers am I facing? Is it a certain time of day? For example, for me, I noticed when I started to pay attention to what I was feeling when I would get an urge to look at the corn, I noticed that it was always late at night when everyone else had gone to bed and it was just quiet and I couldn't be disturbed or I couldn't be caught. And the other thing, I was bored. I was bored and I was tired, and perhaps even loneliness played a factor into it. But when you're tired, you tend to make worse decisions. Your willpower continues to decrease throughout the day from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. So by the time I should be going to bed, my brain is thinking, oh, okay, now his guard is down. Now let's go get that dopamine we've been waiting for. There's no one else awake to disturb us. You see what I'm saying? Your mind plays tricks on you because it wants what you kept feeding it, because there's that part of your brain that it feels good to keep getting the dopamine, the pleasure hormone. You're getting so much excess dopamine from watching it. Every time you consume it, you're getting this high, right? Let's imagine here, my arm is just a normal stream of dopamine. And every time you use corn, your dopamine levels, they're normal. Then all of a sudden it goes way up. You get a huge spike. And then what happens? After you get that huge spike, it immediately comes crashing down because your body and your brain want to remain in balance. It wants to remain stable. But you just gave it this huge spike, so in order to bounce that out, it's going to come crashing down. And eventually it's going to go back and forth until it gets back into equilibrium or homeostasis. But the problem is you keep spiking it, right? You keep watching the corn, you keep spiking it. So every time you keep spiking it, you keep crashing and you feel like shit because dopamine's the pleasure hormone and you keep spiking it but then crashing it. So you're not going to feel good. So then your brain is like, oh, well, that just gave us a lot of dopamine. Let's go back to that. So then you're stuck in this endless cycle of dopamine up and dopamine down, a spike and then crash, spike and then crash. You need to be aware of your problems so that you can steadily unfold the layers and start to address the real root causes of why you quit. Don't do what I did and just try and quit cold turkey, because what's going to happen is you're going to fail because your brain is so addicted to the dopamine rush and to that escapism and to being in that fantasy land that it's not going to know what to do because you haven't given your brain time to adjust to doing something else. It's going to take time because you have to be brutally honest with yourself. And that's difficult for all of us. It's hard to be honest with ourselves when we're doing something wrong. We know we're doing something wrong and we want to stop, but we don't know how, or we know that it's going to be difficult to stop. We know that the thing we need to do is going to be more difficult than the thing that we want to do, even though the thing that we want to do is not good for us. So you might be in denial, you might be coping. You might say, oh, I can just use it a little bit. I can just do once a week, bro, twice a week, bro, and I'll be fine. No, you have to cut this shit out completely. There's no other way around it. If you want to live this life that deep down you know you are capable of living, the first step is truly awareness. The first step to becoming more aware, and in my opinion, this is the most important step, is meditation. I think meditation is the closest thing we have to a magic pill. You're literally sitting there and just being at peace with reality. You are literally just being. There is no extra goal with meditation. There can be, if you want it to be. You can go and contemplate something. The point of meditation is just to meditate, is to just be, to let go of all the voices in your head, all the thoughts, all the emotions, and just sit in reality. If you want to build this life, the life that's inside of you, the version of you that's on the inside deep down, if you want to let that version of you out, you have to meditate. Meditation is what starts to peel back the layers because you sit back and without judgment, you observe all your thoughts, you observe all your emotions. When you're getting an urge, breathe. Imagine your thoughts and emotions are like clouds just floating on by. Just watch them. Just watch them. And that's how I learned, for example, every time it's late, every time everyone goes to bed, that's when an urge comes up. Oh, every time I'm feeling bored, that's when an urge comes up. Oh, every time I'm feeling lonely, that's when an urge comes up. Okay, how should I respond to those emotions instead? What's a healthier way to respond to boredom? What's a healthier way to respond to loneliness? What's a healthier way to respond to it being late at night? Perhaps just go to bed, right? Sometimes the answer is that simple, but we overcomplicate things in our heads. That's what we do as human beings. The second thing you can do to gain awareness is journaling. I think journaling is just meditation, but in written form. My favorite form of journaling is just a brain dump. I call it brain dump journaling. You just take the page, you take your pen, and you just write everything. Everything that's on your mind, every single thought, emotion, everything that you're feeling. There is nothing wrong that you're writing. There is no wrong answer. Put everything onto the page. Everything should be going out of your head, through your arms, through the pen, onto the page, into reality. Get it all out. And eventually you'll reach a point where you've written so much, you have nothing left to write. You have nothing left to think about. Just like meditation, you can sit back and observe your thoughts and emotions, except this time you can do it physically because they're all on the page. Oh, I was feeling this way, or I was thinking about this, or this situation had me feeling stressed out or anxious, and I was gonna do something I know I shouldn't do in order to deal with that. But actually, why don't I deal with this situation directly so I no longer feel stressed or anxious about it? You gain deeper insights into yourself, who you are, the way you think, the way you feel. you're paying attention to what's going on. You're actually grabbing the steering wheel and, oh, I'm gonna look in the mirrors now. I'm gonna actually start driving. I'm gonna actually start putting my foot on the gas and actually doing something about this. Number 3, and I will go into this more in future videos, I think this is extremely powerful, is semen retention. And semen retention is exactly what it sounds like. I know I said semen retention, but women, if you're watching this, you can also practice this. It's just sexual discipline. It's taking your sexual energy, which is really just creative energy, because think about it, this is how we create life, with our sexuality, with our sexual energy. It's creative energy. So we're taking that sexual creative energy and we're not wasting it on fantasy, on mindless escapism, on short-term pleasure, running away from the life that we want to live. Take your energy and hold it, retain it, retention. Retain it in reality, but don't just hold it. That's the mistake people make. They just think, oh, I just got to resist the urge, resist. No. That's why you're doing all the journaling and meditation. You're not resisting anything. You're figuring out where the real issues are. You're not just putting a band-aid solution on it. Oh, I just need to resist the temptation. No, why are you being tempted? Oh, it's because I'm feeling these emotions. Okay, so now while you deal with those emotions, you're no longer wasting your energy on porn. You're no longer wasting your energy on excessive masturbation, spilling your seed. Taking that energy and channeling it, meditation, breathwork, journaling, becoming aware of the life that you want to live, and then transmuting its creative energy. So using that energy instead of wasting it in fantasy, use it in reality. The life that you know you want to live, use that energy. Retain your energy, use it, whether it's at the gym, whether it's going out and talking to people, creating the physique you want, creating relationships. Maybe you're creating a business, you're creating a painting, a drawing, right? You're learning a new language, you're learning an instrument, you're traveling, you're creating new memories, you're creating content as I am now. Whatever it is, that energy is you, it's a part of you. Don't waste your life energy, your creative energy, your sexual energy on some bullshit, on some pixels on a screen, on some mindless escapism. Meditate, journal, retain your energy. Become aware of who you are and what you want, why you keep running away from certain things, why you keep running towards fantasy and mindless pleasure, why you keep entering zombie mode, and then be aware of what you can do instead, and then retain your energy so that when you have this level of awareness, now you charged up your energy like you're Goku, like you're a Super Saiyan, and now you can just hold that higher Super Saiyan form and channel that energy upward and outward. You have to experience what life is like completely without porn. And again, this can be hard. You have to hit your head over and over and over again. You have to keep falling down, keep getting back up for years. Because this is literally ego death. I've talked about this in a previous video, but when you're quitting an addictive habit, it's literally ego death. There's a part of your brain, a part of your body, perhaps even a part of your soul that derived so much pleasure from this activity, that derived so much joy from this activity, not just because of the brain chemistry, but because it was escapism, it was stress relief. You could get away from your anxieties and your fears and you didn't have to face reality. That's why you most likely got addicted to porn in the first place, because you use it to escape reality. Instead of facing reality, going and speaking to that cute girl, going to the gym and actually lifting those weights, you'd rather just live in your little fantasy land, because going and making those things happen in reality is hard. It requires effort. It requires discipline. It requires consistency. It requires consistent, disciplined effort over a long period of time. And you're not going to see results right away. You're probably going to fail over and over and over before you finally start to see even a little bit of movement in the right direction. And that's difficult. But you know what's not difficult? Going and watching porn. Going and mindlessly scrolling on social media, on YouTube. All the mundane shit that you do that makes you feel bad, that makes you feel like crap because it's purposeless, it's meaningless, it's not fulfilling. The life you live just feels so empty, so you try and fill it up with mindless consumption, but then that just makes you feel worse. All those things promised to be sweet, but they were actually poisonous. And you want to know the real cure to this boredom, this depression, this lack of fulfillment, is to actually live in reality. It's to actually create the life that you want to live. Not numb your pain, numb your boredom by going and running off to La La Land, to fantasy land, but actually facing reality, facing the difficulties, facing the fears, not letting them build up into a huge deal in your head, but going and facing them. You got to treat life like a video game, like an RPG. Slaying the dragon, defeating the boss, getting that XP, growing stronger, putting more skill points into the skill tree, getting new gear, leveling up. Don't you want to go to the new zones and get the new companions and get the new gear, fight different bosses, do the different quest lines? Or do you just want to stay in the starter city all day? Why not go out and be the main character of your own life? Don't you want to win the game? You ran off to Fantasyland to indulge in porn and fucking drugs and taking edibles all day and drinking and just trying to numb your pain and distract yourself for what? Because you got a little nervous when that cute girl walked by? Because you couldn't take that small little action of just going to the gym one time and working out for like 10 minutes before you left, at least going and doing something, that was too much for you? So you just gave up entirely? You're better than this. You can do better than this. You can be better than this. It's like Shia LaBeouf said,
don't let your dreams be dreams.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. I know it's a meme, but it's true. The life that you actually want to live, the version of you that you want to be, that's the real you. That's really you. You could be that person. That's the actual you just waiting to come out. But it's been covered up by these layers of insecurity and fear and societal programming, people telling you who you should be and how you should act. If you just lived in a cabin in the woods with no internet, no outside external voices or influences, who would you be? Just you, on your own. Your natural, true self, who would you be? That's you. That's the real you deep down. Just be that. But who are you? And what do you want?